Welcome to Money and Marriage, Lesson 10. It's the last lesson, guys. Who does what? Congratulations on getting to the last lesson. You're doing so well. This last lesson is extremely practical. This is the most practical lesson. I mean, the rest of it was practical, but this is really a who does what. Let's get to the nitty gritty tactical. Okay. You're about to decide who does what in your relationship. You'll discover each other's strengths and weaknesses and figure out the right balance for you both in keeping the household running and the marriage strong. Let me tell you a story. My amazing husband, I really do love him, is 100% people oriented. They say some people are goal oriented and other people are time oriented. Well, I know that there are even others who don't worry about goals or time. They're people oriented. My husband forgets all of life when he's around the people that he loves. He's an amazing listener, an amazing father, and makes everyone feel heard and cared about. People love him wherever he goes. Do you see that little tinge of jealousy there? And I adore that about him. I wish I were more like that. Well, naturally, early on in our marriage, I asked him to contact his friend, the insurance broker, and figure out our insurance situation. We were buying a house and we needed it insured. We needed to get that secured, right? I thought his people person nature would guide him through. I really thought it was going to be an asset here, and it was. It was. We bought insurance as an annual expense, and that means we paid for the whole year upfront and not on auto draft. My husband, the people person, was the point of contact. He didn't check his emails and he didn't have a reminder set to pay the next year. My bad, right? I didn't know this. We were just married. Let me say, the moment I realized our home and our cars were uninsured, that our insurance had lapsed, that he hadn't been paying those bills, I had a little bit of a freak out. My husband got right on the case because it mattered to me and he's a people person. He re-upped our insurance now for a higher rate. Since we let it lapse, we were a higher liability, right? And all was well with the world again. And then the next year, the same thing happened. And the next year, the story repeated. We've been married about 10 years now, and it's happened maybe 5 or 6 times. You'd think I would learn. No, because I'm not a people person, I did not become the point of contact. Anyway, I believe we are at a point where it's not going to happen again because I own that. Okay. You probably know where I'm going with this. All right. And that's such an embarrassing story, but it's a lot of people's stories. Okay. You need to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses and really figure out who does what in your financial lives. My husband is definitely people oriented, but he is not financially organized. That's me, the planner. I am now in charge of important bills like insurance. My husband's people orientedness, well, that's useful for negotiating when we're in a position of weakness. Okay. Key point, not when we're in a position of buying something, but when we need help. Okay. For example, I'll tell you another little story. In a fit of temporary insanity, we took our two kids when they were 3 and just barely a year old at the time to California for Christmas to visit my husband's family. Our flight was 6 hours long, and we didn't have seats together. We had been separated. There weren't any by the time we booked. Okay. With no real leverage, there was just no leverage here. My husband walked up to the register and he asked for a favor. Now he's a handsome man, so I'll give you that. A lot of people have said that he looks like Paul Rudd or different people like that. But it's not about how handsome he was or is. It's about how he listens. You can tell he cares about every person that he's talking to. Everyone can tell. And he really genuinely cares and listens. Now, I genuinely care, but you can't tell until like a year down the line, you realize, no, I really do care, maybe a month. Anyway, the flight attendants instantly liked him. In the story, they instantly liked him. And they moved heaven and earth to get us all seats together. I mean, they called up a bunch of people to see who would change their seats. And don't you see that poor little family with their small little children? You don't want to separate them and have two crying babies across the across the plane. Anyway, they moved heaven and earth and they got us seats together. I couldn't have done that. I just couldn't. I don't have a poker face, and people are instantly suspicious of me, just instantly, because I'm not naturally cheerful. I'm not naturally friendly. Go figure. Also, I'm goal oriented. So I don't naturally think to start by asking them how their days are going and spend the time talking about that. I think the sooner we can get this done, the better. That said, when we have a chance, when my husband and I have a chance to negotiate when we're buying something, I'm your person. I get it done. I play hardball well. I know beforehand when I should walk away and I won't think twice about it. Emotions don't sidetrack me in these kinds of negotiations. I get the emotions and I just file them away for later. So I get in the game when it comes to buying things and negotiating. I want to play. You see the difference? Do you see the difference there? My husband and I use our strengths to help our families. We also acknowledge our weaknesses and we share some of them, which is not good, but that's life. That's everyone. And we work on those weaknesses together. We put systems in place. We do things together when there are weaknesses. That's what I want for you. Find your strengths and your weaknesses. Then divvy up your work. I have put as many categories as I could think of in today's homework. So it should be easy for you to do this. I've made it easy. If you use your strength enough, it won't even feel like work. I love to budget. So the first draft each month for me doesn't feel like work. I enjoy running those numbers. My husband, the people-oriented guy, he makes sure we have fun and we stay human. He's more of a giver than I am and makes sure we support those around us. Now I've grown in that area just being married to him. He's a minister, a man of faith, and continues to stretch us toward God every day. My husband challenges me and I challenge him. We're a good team that way. We're a really good team. You can be that way too. Let's get started figuring out who does what in your financial lives. Now, you have two activities to do, just two. An online activity that you do individually, and then a guided discussion that you do together. So that online activity is going to find your strengths and your weaknesses. Make sure to do those activities in order. You'll use everything you learned in this whole course to finish your last guided discussion. Okay, guys, if you haven't booked your last coaching session that you get with this course, please go do it. I would love for you to meet with a coach. Let's do this. Let's finish Money and Marriage and get you on the same page, literally and figuratively. Anyway, I hope to see you in a different course or in another video. Talk to you soon.